Hey everybody, how is everyone? I hope you're well. I hope you enjoyed your Halloween or your Samhain. I imagine many of you went to a house party or to see some bands play or a nightclub and got dressed up and had a good time. Well, I hope so. Anyway, guns. Guns. Guns are bad. They kill people. Why do we need guns? Why can't we just get rid of guns? Would it help? Would it make a difference? Or is it people that are bad? And is it people that are dangerous? I personally think that people are the problem. I think people have always been the problem. And one of people's problems is they like to blame other things for their shortcomings. They like to be able to point the finger in a direction that isn't towards themselves. Guns are very dangerous objects, and I think that far too many people in the world have them, and that it's far too easy for people to get them in certain countries, mainly America. I think that the vetting process needs to be far more strict. I think that you should have to pay for your own psychological examination and IQ test and have to score very high in both in order to be able to even get a gun license, and that there should be more strict laws around the way that guns are kept also. And that's if people should even own guns, which I'm not even sure they should at all. I'm glad that in my country it is illegal to own firearms. I don't even like seeing police officers with guns. It makes me really nervous and uncomfortable. So I'm glad that even the smartest person in my country isn't allowed to own a weapon that could end somebody's life by twitching your index finger. So, with all that being said, I have to admit, I have some strange fascination with guns. I'm assuming that it's all based from playing video games for so many years. There's got to be some sort of psychological attraction. Maybe it's the allure of the kind of power that you can wield, that ability to hold that power in your hands. That could be it. Maybe I just think they're really cool. I don't know. But firearms, pistols in particular, I've just always really been into them and interested in them and thought they were cool. I can't really explain it further just knowing it was there. But what I do own, as of very recently, is a replica pistol. A gas-powered, ball-bearing firing replica 1911 Colt pistol. Very classic and awesome design. One of my favorite pistols to look at. If not my very favorite pistol to look at. I've always wanted like a replica gun or a BB gun since I was a teenager. And it's always been difficult to get them. When I was a kid it was easy to get whenever you're an adult. But by the time I was an adult, the laws had changed in this country and you need a license to own a BB gun that fires 6mm plastic ball bearings, which might seem like overkill to some people, and it might seem fair enough to others, but what makes it completely and utterly absurd is that the BB gun that I bought recently fires 4.5mm steel ball bearings, not plastic ones. So not only are they made of a harder material, but they're also smaller, which means that they have more force and pressure when they hit their targets, and therefore are literally more dangerous. The 6mm firing versions are used in airsoft sports where people in protective gear will shoot each other. The 4.5mm versions cannot be used for this as they're too dangerous. Yet you do not need a license to buy one. So I ordered some replica wooden 1911 World War II grips, because the ones on the gun are made of plastic and they're not very nice looking. So I wanted something more authentic looking. And the barrel of the gun is the same color as the slide and the body. And I thought I'd quite like it if the barrel was a nice mirror chrome finish, so that every time I racked back the slide, you'd see that silver barrel popping out of the end. And every time the slide was sat forwards in its resting position, you'd see the ejection port cut out of the slide with the chrome barrel underneath. You can buy them like this, and quite often they are actually like that. I don't think the World War II one was. I think it was all one color, but I couldn't help myself. I think that's how I preferred the look of it. So it might not be as authentic in relation to the actual service pistols that American soldiers carried in World War II. If I'm going to be sanding things down and using polish to get them all chrome, I'm obviously going to need to clean it all up and grease it afterwards to make sure it's all in working order and doesn't have any metal filings in it. Hence why I've bought this pellet gun, which I'm assuming is short for pellet gun. But why I bought this pellet gun oil, so I can kind of touch up all the little bits and pieces in the gun, and further down the line as well. I also bought spare CO2 cartridges. When I bought this gun, it was mainly for looks, just to have it on display, but I also wanted to shoot it a couple of times too. And my main fear actually was that these CO2 cartridges were going to cost a shitload of money, but I was really pleasantly surprised that they cost so little, like 49 pence each if you buy them individually, or you can buy in bulk, which is what I did and got these for about £15 for 50, which is an awesome deal. So, I mean, they should last me a very, very long time, as although I do want to fire it, the main reason I bought it is just to have it on display. I like to craft every now and then and get a bit creative with my hands, which is why I've decided to customize the gun. So at some point in the future, I'd quite like to make myself a little wooden display case or something like that for the gun to sit in. Be nice, I could put it on display somewhere one day, if I ever get my own house. That'd be quite cool. Okay, so that's all the stuff I bought, and it's all out of the boxes now. So next I need to get together all the items I need for crafting. I've got my pen, and I've got some chisels that I bought with a girl I was going out with. One Christmas we decided we were gonna have like a little crafting Christmas. It was a really awesome time that I'll never ever forget. It was one of the nicest times I've ever had. And there's some sandpaper for sanding down the barrel. guess it's better to be safe than sorry. Plus, it's always good for me to have some sandpaper lying around because I'll inevitably end up using it at some point. Next, I have some wire wool. So when I'm done with sanding down the barrel, I'll need to smooth it, get all the scratches out. So it comes in three strengths, I don't know what you call it, coarse, medium and fine. So I'll need to use those on the barrel afterwards to, like I say, get the scratches out. So this is the 1911 pistol. The gas cartridge goes into the magazine alongside the BBs, which is really good because it means when the magazine is ejected, the gun is literally no danger whatsoever. It can't fire because it has no propellant. Slides back, that's the barrel sticking out at the front there, and you can see the ejection port to the side, which also shows the barrel further down. And of course the grips too, which are made of some horrible plastic. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the grips, replacing the grips. It seems like they're the simpler job of the two, so I should do that one first. Now, I did do my research, and you can't just simply put the grips on. They're designed to go onto an actual 1911 pistol, which doesn't take a gas cartridge in the magazine. This one does because it isn't a real one. What that means is the lower receiver, I don't think it's called the lower receiver, I'm just trying to be technically knowledgeable. The handle, the grip area of the gun is raised on either side to accommodate for the gas cartridge to fit inside it. Now the plastic grips are hollowed out because they're just cheap plastic things that are going onto a BB gun. So they're just saving on material, and obviously it helps in the design. So they're hollow inside, which means that the protrusions on the handle grip that make space for the gas don't push the grips up, they just pop up inside the hollow areas in the plastic grips. But the wooden ones are just flush on the back, they're completely straight. So what I'm going to need to do is measure out and draw out the area on the back side of the wooden grips where the protrusions will be on the handle, and then I'll need to use the little crafting chisels to cut out that area, cut the wood out, hollow it out, small part of being interested in guns is also to do with that, liking to pop them open and see how they work. And compared to what I do and what all kind of YouTubers or anyone working with media does, video and audio and all, how that all works is really complicated in comparison to how a gun works. You can take a look at a gun and figure out how it works pretty quickly. Anyway, so it's time for me to start working on the gun. Now, I'm going to be measuring out lines and carving away at the wood with my little chisels. I actually begin by using the chisels the wrong way up, and only later realize my mistake and switch and make my life a lot easier. I thought that was quite funny. Anyway, I'll let the video continue to show me do that, and as it's Halloween currently, well, it's Samhain currently as I film this video and record this audio. I thought I'd just fill some of the time by reading what Wikipedia has to say about Halloween. So I'll do that for a while. Halloween. Oh, Halloween. A contraction of All Hallows Evening, also known as All Halloween, All Hallows Eve, or All Saints Eve, is a yearly celebration observed in a number of countries on 31st October, the eve of the Western countries. Sorry, let me just change position. The eve of the Western Christian feast of All Hallows Day. It initiates the Triduum of All Hallowtide, the time in the liturgical year dedicated to remembering the dead, including saints or hallows, martyrs, and all the faithful departed believers. Within All Hallowtide, the traditional focus of All Hallows Eve revolves around the theme of using humor and ridicule to confront the power of death. According to many scholars, All Hallows Eve is a Christianized feast initially influenced by Celtic harvest festivals, with possible pagan roots, particularly the Gaelic Samhain or Samhain. Other scholars maintain that it originated independently of Samhain and has solely Christian roots. Typical festive Halloween activities include trick-or-treating or the related guising, attending costume parties, decorating, carving pumpkins into jack-o'-lanterns, lighting bonfires, apple popping, visiting haunted house attractions, playing pranks, telling scary stories, and watching horror films. In many parts of the world, the Christian religious observances of All Hallows Eve, including attending church services and lighting candles on the graves of the dead, remain popular, although in other locations these solemn customs are less pronounced in favor of a more commercialized and secularized celebration. Western Christian denominations encourage, although most no longer require, abstinence from meat on All Hallows Eve. The tradition of eating certain vegetarian foods for this vigil day developed, including the consumption of apples, colcannon, cider, potato pancakes, and soul cakes. Etymology. The word Halloween, or Halloween, dates to about 1745 and is of Christian origin. The word Halloween means hallowed evening or holy evening. It comes from the Scottish term for All Hallows Eve, the evening before All Hallows Day. In Scots, the word eve is even, and this is contracted to een or een. Over time, All Hallows Eve evolved into Halloween, although the phrase All Hallows is found in Old English. All Hallows Eve is itself not seen until 1556. History. Today's Halloween customs are thought to have been influenced by folk customs and beliefs from the Celtic-speaking countries, some of which have pagan roots, and others which may be rooted in Celtic Christianity. Indeed, Jack Santino, a folklorist, writes that the sacred and the religious are a fundamental context for understanding Halloween in Northern Ireland, but there was throughout Ireland an uneasy truce existing between customs and beliefs associated with Christianity and those associated with religions that were Irish before Christianity arrived. Historian Nicholas Rogers, exploring the origins of Halloween, notes that while some folklorists have detected its origins in the Roman feast of Pomona, the goddess of fruits and seeds, or in the festival of the dead called Parentalia, it is more typically linked to the Celtic festival of Samhain, which comes from the Old Irish for summer's end. Sigmund. Samhain, pronounced Samhain or Samhain, was the first and most important of the 4 quarter days in the medieval Gaelic calendar, and was celebrated in Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. It was held on or about 31st of October to 1st of November, and kindred festivals were held at the same time of year by the Brittonic Celts, for example, Callangaif in Wales, Callanquaff in Cornwall, and Callangorf in Brittany. Samhain and Callangaif are mentioned in some of the earliest Irish and Welsh literature. The names have been used by historians to refer to Celtic Halloween customs up until the 19th century, and are still the Gaelic and Welsh names for Halloween. Samhain or Callangaif marked the end of the harvest season and beginning of the winter, or the darker half of the year. Like Beltane Callan May, it was seen as a liminal time, when the spirits or fairies, the Ouse Sea, could more easily come into our world and were particularly active. Most scholars see the Ouse Sea as degraded versions of ancient Samhain, it was believed that the Aussie needed to be propitiated to ensure that the people and their livestock survived the winter. Offerings of food and drink, or portions of the crops, were left for the Aussie. The souls of the dead were also said to revisit their homes. Places were set at the dinner table or by the fire to welcome them. The belief that the souls of the dead return home on one night or day of the year seems to have ancient origins and is found in many cultures throughout the world. In 19th century Ireland, candles would be lit and prayers formally offered for the souls of the dead. After this, the eating, drinking, and games would begin. Throughout the Gaelic and Welsh regions, the household festivities including rituals and games intended to divine one's future, especially regarding death and marriage. Nuts and apples were often used in these divination rituals. Special bonfires were lit, and there were rituals involving them. Their flames, smoke, and ashes were deemed to have protective and cleansing powers, and were also used for divination. It is suggested that the fires were a kind of imitative or sympathetic magic. They mimicked the sun, helping the powers of growth and holding back the decay and darkness of winter. Christian minister Eddie J. Smith suggests that the bonfires were also used to scare witches off their awaiting punishment in hell. In modern Ireland, Scotland, Man and Wales, the festival included mumming and guising, the latter of which goes back at least as far as the 16th century. This involved people going house to house in costume or in disguise, usually reciting verses or songs in exchange for food. It may have come from the Christian custom of souling, or it may have a Gaelic folk origin, with the costumes being a means of imitating or disguising oneself from the Aussie. In Scotland, youths went house to house on 31st of October with masked, painted, or blackened faces, often threatening to do mischief if they were not welcomed. F. Marion McNeill suggests the ancient festival included people in costume representing the spirits, and that the faces were marked or blackened with ashes taken from the sacred bonfire. In parts of Wales, men went about dressed as fearsome beings called Gwarcod, in the late 19th and early 20th century. Young people in Glamorgan and Orkney dressed as the opposite gender. In parts of southern Ireland, the guises included a hobby horse, a man dressed as a leaban, a white mare, led youths house to house, reciting verses, some of which had pagan overtones. Europe, mumming and hobby horses were part of other yearly festivals. However, in the Celtic-speaking regions, they were particularly appropriate to a night upon which supernatural beings were said to be abroad and could be imitated or warded off by human wanderers. As early as the 18th century, imitating malignant spirits led to playing pranks in Ireland and the Scottish Highlands, wearing costumes at Halloween spread to England in the 20th century, as did the custom of playing pranks. The traditional illumination for guisers or pranksters abroad on the night in some places were provided by turnips or mangel wurzels, hollowed out to act as lanterns and often carved with grotesque faces to represent spirits or goblins. These were common in parts of Ireland and the Scottish Highlands in the 19th century, as well as in Somerset. In the 20th century, they spread to other parts of England and became generally known as jack-o'-lanterns. Christian influence. Today's Halloween customs are also thought to have been influenced by Christian dogma and practices derived from it. Halloween falls on the evening before the Christian holy days of All Hallows Day, on November 1st, and All Souls Day on November 2nd, thus giving the holiday on 31st of October the full name of All Hallows Eve, meaning the evening before All Hallows Day. Since the time of the primitive church, major feasts in the Christian church had vigils which began the night before, as did the Feast of All Hallows. These 3 days are collectively referred to as All Hallowtide, and are a time for honouring the saints and praying for the recently departed souls who have yet to reach heaven. All Saints was introduced in the year 609, but was originally celebrated on 13th of May in 835. It was at the behest of Pope Gregory IV that it was switched to 1st of November, the same date as Samhain. Some suggest this was due to Celtic influence, while others suggest it was a Germanic idea. It is also suggested that the change was made on the practical grounds that Rome in summer could not accommodate the great number of pilgrims who flocked to it, and perhaps because of public health considerations regarding Roman the custom of wearing costumes has been explicated by Prince Sori Conte, who wrote, "It was traditionally believed that the souls of the departed wandered the earth until All Saints' Day and All Hallows' Eve provided one last chance for the dead to gain vengeance on their enemies before moving to the next world. In order to avoid being recognized by any soul that might be seeking such vengeance, people would don masks or costumes to disguise their identities. In the Middle Ages, churches displayed the relics of martyred saints, and those parishes that were too poor to have relics let parishioners dress up as the saints instead, a practice that some Christians continue in Halloween celebrations today. Folklorist Kingsley Palmer, in addition to others, has suggested that the carved jack-o'-lantern, a popular symbol of Halloween, originally represented the souls of the dead. And I think I'll stop there. There is a long, long, long entry for Christian influence, followed by its spread to North America, symbols and artifacts, and such. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video, found yourself relaxed, and hopefully fast asleep by now. The grips have been successfully modified and added to the pistol. And next time, you can join me as I customize the barrel with a chrome finish. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and take very good care of yourselves and those who you love. And remember to show